Eric Jones, welcome to Wait, Say More. Can you give us a brief introduction about who you are and what you're doing?
Totally. Okay, so I'm Eric Jones. I'm running for Congress, California's 4th district, which is it's basically a brand new district with Prop 50. Look, I was a working class kid. My father's a disabled veteran. My teenage mom, she raised 3 boys and did everything she could so that I could be the first in my family to go to college.
Wow,
and that
you did.
And that we did. And that, that's an American dream story. And then I moved here to start healthcare companies and have done some work, some pretty cool work, I think, in the nonprofit space around how to create messaging for the left to communicate better to people without college degrees and young people. So we do a lot of, that's called the American Dream Institute.
Yeah.
So what I bring to the table is a little different. I'm not a politician. I'm hoping to be one.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of healthcare experience building healthcare companies in women's health, mental health, and in senior care. And then I think my more politically aligned experience is really in messaging and how do we get so much of the country back on our side and communicate in the right way and not in an overly politicized way, right? Politics is downstream from culture. This is a very interesting race. It's me versus an incumbent who's been there for almost 30 years. He's been in politics for 50 years.
Yeah. Has he done a good job?
In terms of bringing money back to the district, which is a really critical thing, right? Bringing federal dollars and investment back to our community. Nationally, he ranks in the bottom quarter, and he's close to last in Northern California, right? So he's not been effective on that front. He's also not been an effective legislator. In the past 15 years, he's passed 7 bills, of which all are renamings of post offices and courthouses.
In his, 30-some years?
That's the last 15. He had some good stuff early on.
Okay.
Which, again, is kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's just, and he's not alone. This is typical of so much of the corporate Democrat establishment where because you can just raise your hand and get a couple $1 million of free PAC money, you're in a safe blue seat. So we need competition within our party.
Yes.
Competition is good.
Yeah, I think that there's always this conversation, especially for young people who maybe weren't around 30 years ago to elect someone like him, of why can't we go against the Republicans? Why can't, they have such a singular vision, often a vision that we don't agree with. And the reason why is because so many corporate Democrats are complacent. And I feel thank you for, bringing that up, because it's if you're getting paid by big corporations or specific industries, of course you're not going to vote against them.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And we have this sort of, to use sports as a metaphor, right? The Republicans get the ball and they march it down the field. And then we all get up in arms and then we say, now it's our turn, we have power, no more. And we draw a line in the sand, right? But guys, we started back there and they just keep doing it. So we keep losing ground and then we just hold the line and feel like we're the warriors for the people.
Yeah.
Guys, if you look, corporate tax rates have gone down by 70% since Obama. That wasn't that long ago, right? Look at the number of billionaires in our country since Obama. That's we were all alive. It's not left, right on a lot of issues. It is up, down. It really is. And the up is power, it's corporate power, it's the establishment, and it's all the reinforcement of that kind of system that keeps them in power for so long.
Yeah,
so long.
Absolutely. And I feel like you are following in the footsteps or in the direction of politicians that we're actually seeing who are very much committed to not being a part of that, not being at, I've heard up, down, top, bottom, et cetera, who are committed to working for working people who are out here struggling. And as someone who's a Gen Zer, as someone who is seeing it unfold right now, I'm doing just fine, but I'm looking around at my own generation and it's looking tough. It's kind of mixed though. It's kind of contradictory where Gen Z is being teed up, if I'm correct, to be the richest generation, but a lot of it is because of familial wealth.
Yep.
Which in my mind, of course, will only drive further income inequality, wealth inequality amongst young people. You
nailed that, by the way. That's so important. Averages don't tell a story, because you're right. There's going to be a massive wealth transfer eventually, but it's going to go to those who already have. And it's going to just enhance this crazy divide we have in our country. Inequality has never been we've never had so much inequality in our country. We are in the Gilded Age, and what you just said is so true. Back to the American dream, don't people want to have a future and have a path and invest in something and be passionate about something?
Yeah, and also speaking from someone who, I'm the son of immigrants and they basically did achieve the American dream. I don't want to be someone who relies on my parents. No, that's not what we're signing up for. That's not the version of the American dream that we want. And so I know that much of your platform is centered on affordability, just in general. And I think you really come in with ideas because we know that affordability is where we can actually get people. Whether it's in the base or outside of it, independent voters, etc. And I might be wrong. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
No.
But I think that strategy is fantastic.
I will say, so here's the thing, right? Like, we finally like got it right. But also I would add like one little thing. I think we need a little bit of hope alongside of it. Like, I talk a lot about aspiration, and I think that if we can add that to maybe the affordability matrix and say, like, guys, like, this is America, like, let's go build something and enable that. And but by the way, it's the same thing. Because if you're every day can't figure out how to feed yourself or pay your rent, you're not thinking about the future.
Yes. And that's another thing that, you know, like a lot of people accuse Democrats or people on the left of being like, oh, you care too much about like the social aspects, whatever. And we're like, no, we understand.
No, we want to make rent.
That, we want to make rent. And we understand that you want to make rent. And that there is a basic level of necessity that you have to meet for you and your family. And for me, like, I'm not going to, you know, come after someone for voting a certain way because they felt like they had to come 2024, whether that meant voting for Trump. Did that happen? No. But this is the feeling that we all have. And so if you could go into a little bit, like, what actually makes a more affordable America? Are we too late?
So, no. And this is, I would always say, there is enough money in America. There's always enough money.
When you put it that way, I'm like,
right? So, like, don't let anyone tell you in politics that we have to make trade-offs. It's just that the money has to go to the right places, right? So I'll kind of work backwards and start with an idea that is picking up steam. I'm running on an idea of a $10,000 tax refund for everyone who makes under $150,000.
Wow.
And people are like, oh, that's impossible. It's not. That would disproportionately help young people and working class people. Because yes, like, and what you want to do is help people early in their careers when they're building towards that dream. Clearly.
Please.
So can I do the math for you for a median California household?
Please.
Okay. So let's say 2 parents, maybe 2 kids, 1 kid. That median household makes $100,000, which used to be this like incredible, I've made it number. That family will pay about $20,000 all in taxes in California, 80 grand. Rent, it's about $3,400 a month, so call it 40 grand. Now we're at 40. Okay. Healthcare, all in for that family, it's about 15 grand out of pocket. So now we're at 25. A car, all the maintenance, insurance, etc., 10. Now we're at 15.
And
then utilities, rental insurance, basically everything related, you know, call it broadly utilities, like your Hulu package. Now you're at 10 grand.
Which we could opt out, you know, like, we could cut.
But you can't opt out of renter's insurance. You can't opt out of home insurance, right? Now you're at 10 grand. That's $28 per day for food, clothing, and everything else, right? Childcare, saving for the future, like going to school, right? Like that's where we are. So if you could say, actually, we're going to double that, it's actually a doubling of your disposable income for the average California family, and that's huge, particularly for young people who early in their careers are in this income bracket making less than $150,000. And by the way, they're going to invest that right back in the economy, or they're going to do childcare or something really, really important. It's like exactly where you want to be putting dollars in people's pockets. So yes, we have to invest, and we can talk about that. But in the short term, people just need money in their pockets. And who is going to say no? How are we going to pay for it? We have to raise taxes on corporations. The average large corporation in America during the Biden administration, if you look at the S&P 500, paid 12% tax.
I know, that's such bullshit.
And the actual rate is 21, right? So why is it not paying 21? It's because all the loopholes, all the lobbyists. If you paid 21, you generate about $600 to $700 billion.
Wow.
On top of that, there's a $600 billion IRS tax gap. That's estimated uncollected IRS taxes annually.
Because billionaires famously don't pay their taxes.
Right, so now you're at 1.3 trillion would pay for that and more. And guys, we haven't done anything except say, we have a tax rate, we have a tax code, contribute, pay your fair share. Like, the money is there. That's what we have to be investing in, because otherwise young people are just stuck. Working class people are stuck. If you're spending every day worried about whether you're gonna have a dollar at the end of your day, you are not thinking about the future. And that's the way I grew up. I get it. Like, it's visceral. It's like, it's anxiety. It's overwhelming, right? And a lot of people have debt on top of that. Student debt, healthcare debt, right? So it's like like we have to acknowledge where we are. Just like it's crazy. The stock market's based at an all-time high, and people have never suffered more, I think. Right?
I mean, maybe I just haven't done my research enough, but you're the first person I've seen who's actually proposed that. And it's not going to require us to do anything more, right? Like in terms of like what actually helps with the affordability problem, I think a lot of people are saying things that aren't like putting money in people's pockets.
And they
like that's a pretty simple thing that you can't
right,
do.
They say affordability. Say affordability. Like, look, like there are a lot of ways to address affordability, but a lot of them are hard.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and we're going to do all the hard things. But right now, there's an urgency.
Yes. Yes.
There's an urgency. And I think that unfortunately, when you're 75 in Congress, you don't feel the urgency.
So then let's talk about, because you also have a very robust perspective on healthcare, as it pertains to affordability. Now that I'm 28, as opposed to like post-grad college, I'm not 26. I'm not on my parents' healthcare. My healthcare, I just lost my healthcare because I switched jobs. So as someone who doesn't have,
by the way, that single so that was under when the expansion of the age to 26 under Obamacare, right? It's so silly because it's not like your healthcare is still being paid for. Why? The whole point of insurance is that you should have a long-term relationship with your doctor and your insurance company so that they can help you better be healthier. Why would they kick you off?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I never saw that doctor again. Pretty sure I'm never going to go to Kaiser again.
But to answer your question, right? Okay, so I think about the sandwich generation a lot, which is kind of everyone at this point. How do we take care of our parents because our population is aging?
Okay.
And how do we take care of kids and help young families raise kids?
Yeah.
And on the parent side, core part of my policy is senior care, which is I believe that every senior should have graduated, i.e. escalating if they need it, in-home nursing care. And we've shown that this actually saves us money. There was a program called PACE in California where they looked at really sick people who were on Medi-Cal and Medicare over 65, and they gave them unlimited nursing care in their homes so they could stay in their homes. They could keep being grandparents, right? And they actually saved California taxpayers money.
Real quick, so that's basically okay, we're saving money because instead of something catastrophic happening to X number of elder or sick people, we give more coverage to more people. Perhaps lighter coverage is a word you could use.
I think it's actually more closer to home, more community-based, more frequent.
Yes, preventative.
Preventative.
Okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely, right? Like if you're a senior, and let's say you can't afford your medication, maybe you miss a day. That could cause you a hospital trip.
Yeah.
That hospital trip could cost $7,000, right? Or someone could call, a nurse could call you and ask you how you're doing. And say, oh, you can't afford your meds this week? Oh, let's help you out. Let us help you get insulin. Now that person's fine. What was the cost of that? $20.
Yeah.
And by the way, that person got a visit from a nurse, and it was community, and it was in their home, and they weren't in a hospital.
Right.
That's the simplest idea. And there's a lot of things around that. At the other end, we talked about childcare, which I think is healthcare. Every kid in America needs to learn beyond reading, track to learn to read, or reading by 3rd grade, right?
Yes.
And we got to start there with childcare. And why this is important in California is because if we don't do anything, we're going to lose something by the math, 25% to a third of our public schools in the next 15 years, based on declining enrollment, because there aren't any kids in California. Because it's too expensive. It's not affordable, right? So how do you fix that?
I laughed.
No, how do you fix that? Well, if you can actually put kids into public schools with transitional kindergarten, TK-1, TK-2, TK-3, you can fill the classrooms. You bring in more money federally, and now the schools can stay open. And by the way, now you have childcare, which means that more families can move there. And you interrupt, and then you actually reverse the trend. Now we have more young families. Now we have more school enrollment. Now communities don't have empty public schools with graffiti all over them. They have these thriving public schools like baseball games. It's fun. Little League is fun. Communities love Little League games, right? That's so cool. Let's have that again in America. It's seniors, which is going to be a big part of the population, and we're going to have to figure out how to take care of them. Us as a country and us as kids, right? We're kids. And then our kids.
And when you first are talking about the sandwich, for me, I'm kind of well, you're forgetting about us, Eric. But actually, no, right? Because my parents are 65.
Yep.
And I don't think I'm having kids. But if I knew that I could have kids such that they have a place to go, they have an education that they can have early on, then that would probably incentivize me to have a kid.
Oh, totally. I mean, people think about this, right? Like, I think there's this narrative that like young people don't want to have kids.
Because we just like aren't nurturing people, and yeah, that's like the idea,
I
right?
think we're adapting to the reality.
Yeah, certainly. And some of it is, like women's rights, like we don't need to force women to have kids. But some of it is like, oh, it's not like I have conversations with my friends and people are saying, I don't want a family. A lot of people are saying, yeah, like I actually would love to have a kid. I'm approaching that age now and I'm just not going to do it.
By the way, they've looked at the data for countries like Nordic countries that are, a decade ahead of us. Even when you get to a steady state of where women are equal in the workforce, equal pay, equal opportunity, if affordability is not there, they still don't have kids.
They're not gonna have the kids, yeah.
Right?
There's not gonna be kids, yeah.
Like it's like you think about it back in the day, right? Like kids were like they were an economic engine for the family on the farm.
Yeah.
Now they say it costs like $300,000 to $400,000. So like you need to do a lot to offset $300,000 to $400,000.
Yeah.
We have to really help. I want to be very clear. I am for Medicare for all, 100%. But it's insufficient. Medicare for all is insufficient. Medicare doesn't cover dental care, doesn't cover vision care, even if you're going blind. It doesn't cover hearing aids. It doesn't cover any sort of in-home care for you as you age, which, by the way, is the most important care that you need.
Yeah,
right.
I'm far away from that, but I can imagine a world where that will be the thing.
We could pay for everyone's prescription generic drugs in America, all of it, for the equivalence of 15 to 20 days of war in Iran. That's the cost.
It's crazy.
That's the cost, right? So Medicare doesn't cover any of that stuff. So to say Medicare for all, absolutely. But do you know that Medicare today is, for many people, totally inadequate, and they're getting sick because of it, and then who ends up paying for it at the end of the day? All of us, because we have to take care of people in our country. It's unacceptable to not take care of people in America at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. It's a moral obligation. Now, we can debate how we get there, but it's a moral obligation. Look how much money we have. Look how sick people are.
Yeah.
Like, so this is where I get heated, because man, yes and more.
Yes, and okay, yes. And to the thing that you're saying too, like, I think it's so important when you say something like, we can do all of these things for all of these people and it would save us money. Because if people can truly be convinced of that, and why shouldn't they be if the numbers actually number out, then there's no like, oh, what do the Democrats think? What do the Republicans think? No, it's just like, it's simply fact. But,
because preventative. That's the word, right? Yes. Like if a phone call or a simple intervention can help someone stay on their meds such they don't have a medical crisis and have to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
You've just saved everyone tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
And you've been a caring, kind human being in the process. And that person's not sick either.
Yeah. But I think, and I want to see what you think about this, like I feel like in America we have this idea that if we give care to more people who like maybe don't deserve it or they're not having a problem, right? Like we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be spending tax dollars on people who like aren't in total dire straits. And I feel like that's kind of the idea that we've been fed.
I am a Christian. I go to an extremely progressive church. Like we are trans friendly, we're LGBTQ friendly. Wow. We sit at round tables, very intellectual, and the pastor is amazing. And I say all that because like, there are some very basic Christian values that speak to this that often these criticisms come from the right where people say they share these values. I'm like, well, aren't the core values of Sermon on the Mount like love thyself and love thy neighbor and therefore love thy neighbor and kind of love thy neighbor as thyself? And so what, to your point, if people are sick, what are you going to do? Let them get sick? Let them die? Like, what?
It's hitting capitalism to the max.
Because at the end of the day, let's say that we are good in America and we do want to take care of people. Let's just...
I would like to see that.
Yeah, it's like a premise, right? Okay, cool, awesome. So if that's the case, at the end of the day, people are going to be taken care of some way or another, and the taxpayer in the American system will have to bear that. Purely from an economics perspective, let's do it early. Let's do it in a humane way. Let's give doctors and nurses and care providers the power to take care of people and not the insurance companies. Care should be determined and driven by the healthcare professional who goes to a hell of a lot of school and has so much pain and pays a lot of money and a degree to get there. Let them do their jobs.
Yeah.
Don't let the insurance company dictate how they do their job, right? That is the way to take care of people in America. And if we do that, we will actually lower the cost of healthcare because people will be healthier. And that's the best way to save money in healthcare. What sucks, well, what's terrible, what kind of bothers me is that to compete against the establishment, you do have to have resources.
You need money. Yes. Yes.
And for me, it's like, to be honest, like, look, I have close relationships with 2 congressionals, and in the Bay Area, and you can guess who they are, but they've been the competitive races, and they've been the last 2 competitive races for the Democratic Party, right? And they were so kind as to lend me their teams and their finance teams, and to a degree, their networks and Rolodex. And that's enabled me to raise money from Democratic Party donors, and not folks who are like the big money, but folks who like see the party is failing us and they want change. And they're sick and tired of the same old politicians saying the same old things who don't understand the core issues. But on top of that, we are helping. My wife and I are helping, and we're in a position where we can help. And that bums me out, to say the least. Bums me out I think about it all the time.
Well, I want to talk about that. Yeah, keep going.
Yes. And I hope that what I can do is be one of the people who busts open this dam. Because again, this is an open seat. I'm going at an incumbent.
Yeah.
He gets millions of dollars of free PAC money every year. He's got $750,000 of attack ads placed against me from the Blue Dog Coalition, which is, pharma and oil and gas, right?
Oh.
Like
Dream Team,
he's got
Dream
the Dream
Squad.
all our favorite
Dream Blood
company,
rotation.
all our favorite company, yeah, exactly.
And you know what? As someone who's on the other side as a voter, we're being asked this question for multiple different candidates. You're certainly not the only one, and you're not a billionaire.
No,
okay, let's just be straight up.
There are very different degrees of magnitude here.
Yes. I think now, especially with the 2026 midterm elections, people, voters, progressives, understand this, are at more of an understanding. Because the second you say like, oh, this person's rich or this person has money and they're trying to represent the interests of working people, the first visceral reaction can be, no, absolutely not. Then you think about, well, who are the other people being funded by, right? I think people are getting around to the idea that, like, yeah, unfortunately, we're actually just really far in America in terms of how much money is in politics, such that we can understand that it takes someone like you to break the dam, so to speak. Because it's really hard for people to win if you're not taking money from corporate. Like,
it's really hard. Where does the money come from? If you're young in America or you don't have a college degree, you should not trust our politics. You should not trust politicians. You should not, on the face, trust me. Because why would you? You've been deceived. But now is the time to do the work and talk, listen to people like you and get out there, because otherwise we're screwed. And we have to be cynical, but also we have to be hopeful, because there are good people who are trying to do this, and we have to work together.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about housing, which is something that as a 28-year-old, if this was the previous generation, I might be looking at a house right now. I'm so far away from that, Yeah. The median first-time home buyer age in America is 40, right? And which you're younger than that. And
wow, that's really gone up.
Yeah, I'm now debating being one of those lifelong renters. Low-key doesn't sound like that bad of an option. When you hear about old people who are like, oh, you're paying $600 for a 1-bedroom in Los Angeles, California, because you lived there your whole life. I honestly, it's to the point where I'm kind of like, maybe I'll just be a renter the rest of my life. Ideally, that's not where that's not the future, right? So what actually can be done to make housing, which is arguably the biggest expense, more affordable?
So there's a lot of local issues around housing all across the country.
Sure.
That's 10 podcasts, okay? So we'll...
Yeah. and a lot of I'm learning a lot of acronyms. To be clear,
I'm pro-housing, so everyone knows where I stand, but that problem is a big problem we could talk about later. It has to be solved. Now, what can we do federally? That's simple. One, we need a 0% down, conforming, first-time home buyer mortgage. The classic thing is 20% down is required, right? That's your down payment, okay? However, there are some products that are already offered by the government in special areas. If you're a veteran, you can do 0%. If you're in a rural community, really rural, there's a USDA loan that is also 0%.
Wow.
Department of Agriculture, right? We create the same product, but for a first-time buyer. That's it. It's so simple, right? And what it does is allow young people to compete in the market and actually have a fair shot. Because the issue right now is not actually the monthly payment, because rent is often higher than the mortgage payment.
Yes.
It's the down payment.
Yeah.
And people talk about, oh, how about a $10,000 tax credit? I'm like, guys, California, your down payment could be $150,000 for a starter home.
Right.
So a $10,000 credit ain't gonna move the needle. But making it 0, that's awesome.
Right.
So that's the idea.
Because right now people are like, oh yeah, I'll definitely pay that down payment in cash, right? Like I'll pay like
No one
what,
has the cash.
150,000. Yeah. So this would help solve that.
Totally. And a 0% down loan for first-time homebuyer. Eliminate the down payment. 2, a national housing construction bank, which basically will lower the cost to build by offering low-cost financing to affordable housing developers and builders. And then 3, we do have to get private equity out of home ownership and home speculation.
Hell yeah.
100%, right? Like, it's a growing part of the market. It affects young people disproportionately.
How
And
much of the
homes,
market? Do you know?
it's a low percentage, but it's a huge percentage of the competition. Does that make sense? People often quote like, oh, it's 3 or 5%. Yeah, but they're in 30 to 50% of the bidding. Fundamentally, homes are for people to live in.
Yeah.
Just like healthcare is a human right, homes are for people.
I think you laid it out, Eric Jones. What I like about what you're saying is that you come in with the ideas. You know, I know we talked about how like affordability is the crisis, because it's a crisis that we're in right now. And I'm trying to get more of an understanding of what actually gets us there. So I appreciate you doing that, and I'm excited to see, you in Congress.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any last things that you want to say to the audience?
Oh no, just that we need more people like you.
Oh,
No, also because like it's not, you're open, you're caring, you're smart. And by the way, like get everyone on here. Like get some people you disagree with and see what happens.
I think so too.
Like we have to push this.
All right, let's do it. We're getting civically engaged, y'all.